Hello there, Sagittarius. Thank you so much for stopping by for your Tarot Weekly video forecast for the week of February 8th through February 14th. I do want to let you know I have one more group mentoring session that is scheduled right now. It has 2 slots available, so if you're interested in participating with that, go ahead and drop me a line. Let me know. You can find my contact information on my website. And that session is actually on February the 28th. That's at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. You can check Google and find out when that is your time. And for those of you that time doesn't work, but you do want to be a part of a group mentoring session where you learn how to expand your own psychic or intuitive abilities, then drop me a line and let me know that. We'll get something scheduled that works for both of us, and then we'll just invite other people in. Okay, so let's get into your reading, Sagittarius. On Monday, what you have coming up is the Seven of Clubs in reverse. Interesting. I think I had somebody else have this on Monday too. Or maybe it was Tuesday. I think it was Monday. Anyway, getting sidetracked. So, Seven of Clubs in reverse for you, Sagittarius. What this means is that you had a situation where you had to take a stand for yourself. And this could have been with family, at home, with friends. But you had to set some boundaries. People were just kind of taking you for granted and just thinking, oh, well, he or she can do this and he or she can do that, and it's no big deal to them, and blah, blah, blah. And so pretty soon you find in those situations that you're doing a whole lot of stuff that you really may not have time, maybe you don't have the resources for, and at some point you just have to draw the line and say, that's enough. I don't mind helping you, but this is a little overkill here. And so I feel like you were very specific about the boundaries, about what you would do and what you wouldn't do. And now what's coming up on Monday with the Seven of Clubs in reverse is that the time for talking is over. You've already talked the talk. You've already let people know what those boundaries are that you've set out. Now the time is for walking the walk. And trust me, people will test your boundaries. They're used to having you do things for them. They're used to you being there for them all the time. It's almost like after a while, they don't know how to handle situations without you taking care of them. And so they're going to test those boundaries. They're going to be coming at you and just acting like you haven't even said anything about your boundaries. It'll be like, did you sleep through this? Did I dream that I talked about this? That really type of behavior, I mean, that blatant generally is what happens. And so with this card coming up, this is telling me that time to walk the walk. So this is a point now where you're done with talking to them. You've already said what you needed to say. Now if they come to you and they're pushing for those boundaries they're trying to knock them down, now it's time for you to show the proof. The proof is in the pudding. Are you going to let them knock down your boundaries, or are you going to stick to them? And it's important to not let somebody knock down those boundaries, because if you do, then the next time you try to set those boundaries, because if you go back to doing what you were doing before, sooner or later you're going to want to reset those boundaries. They're going to pay even less attention to them. So it's really important to stick with those boundaries. So you want to definitely make sure that you don't do those things that you've told them that you won't do before. Now, you don't have to be mean about it. It doesn't have to be something like, I told you, you shush, 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 shush. Not happening. No, you can just say something like, you know what, we already had a discussion about this, and that's more than I'm willing to do for you. I'll be happy to do da da da, but this you're going to have to find some other way to get accomplished. You know, just say it in a nice way, because I feel like they don't really understand why you even set the boundaries. Like, I feel like some of them even are like, well, maybe he or she doesn't really care about me anymore. So it's a little bit hurting them because they don't understand. So you don't want to be mean on top of it. You want to just kind of try to, with compassion, say, you know what, we've had this discussion. Now it's time for you to do what you need to do here. Okay, so that's Monday. Let's move on. I've already spent 4 minutes and we're just done with Monday. All right, so we've got the Fool coming up in reverse for you on Tuesday. This is just telling me that you have a situation on Tuesday. You know intuitively how to handle this situation. You know from deep inside. The problem is a lot of times those types of knowings aren't necessarily rational or logical, so they're hard to justify, and it's hard to tell your friends what you want to do and justify it to them, much less yourself. So What I see actually going on is that instead of sticking with that intuition or that gut knowledge of how you should handle the situation, what you're sticking with instead is logic. You're throwing away that intuition, just not paying any attention to it on Tuesday. I would encourage you to rethink that decision if you feel that energy coming in, if you feel like it applies to you on Tuesday. I would encourage you, like I said, to rethink it, because when you follow your intuition, good things happen. Let's just say it like that. All right, so let's look at Wednesday. Wednesday, you have the King of Cups showing up, and I really like this card for you. This just means, Sagittarius, that you have somebody coming into your life Wednesday who is going to have a conversation with you. For most of you, this will be a male. For a few of you, this will be a female. This is a general reading. You won't see me pegging down genders in a general reading. But this person is coming in and wants to talk to you about how he feels about something on Wednesday. Excuse me. And so he's going to be doing that, and he's going to be doing that in a compassionate, gentle way. He's going to be doing it in a way that makes sense. I don't feel like this is any kind of emotional blow up or a volcanic explosion of emotion. This is just somebody being very clear with you about how he feels about something. And he's trying to be as kind as he can about it. For some of you, this is going to be good news. What you hear about what he feels is going to be good news. I feel like for others of you, he's going to be saying some things that you really are going to be wishing that you weren't hearing or that weren't true. But even though this is not necessarily the news that you want to hear about how he feels, he is showing a lot of integrity, he or she, by sharing this information with you, and is doing it in a very responsible and reasonable manner, as well as compassionate. Okay, so pretty cool card actually coming up for you on Wednesday, that was. Let's move on to Thursday. What you've got here is the Ace of Swords in reverse. This just means you're passing along good ideas to somebody in your sphere of influence, and this can be anything from teaching your little son how to tie his shoes all the way up to holding a seminar for thousands of people and teaching them, I don't know, how to do day trading, how to sew, I don't know. But passing along good ideas to other people is the theme of the day for you, Sagittarius, on Thursday. Now, Friday, you guys have somebody you're interacting with. This is the Queen of Swords. This person, I feel like she's carrying a heavy burden whenever you're talking to her on Saturday. It just when you feel her energy, this load seems like it's really holding her down. She is an extremely smart person, extremely intelligent. She has experienced a lot in life. She knows how to handle a lot of situations much better than a lot of the people around her, a lot of her peers. However, I feel like when you're talking to her, she does have this heavy load. She's gone through something major and she hasn't really completely processed it. For some of you, the person that you're dealing with is dealing with grief. The Queen of Swords many times is actually a widow. I've also seen a Queen of Swords as someone who has lost a child. That child has crossed over into another realm. So what she's processing, what she's dealing with may very well be grief for some of you, Sagittarius. I'm sure it will be for some of you. And for others of you, this is just a heavy burden that she's carrying around. I'm also feeling that this burden could be worry about someone in her life. And for a lot of people, it's going to be for her son specifically. Although, of course, that's too specific to apply to everybody. But definitely carrying around a heavy burden of worry about somebody. So, either grieving and processing some stuff. That stuff doesn't have to be grief. She could be processing something that she's been through. She may have been through a recent trauma herself. Or heavy worry that she's dealing with on Friday whenever you interact with this person, Sagittarius. And then on Saturday, what we have coming up, oh wow, the weekend is pretty heavy duty for you guys. Saturday, what you have coming up is the transformation card. Yes, I know it's labeled death. I call it the transformation card because that's really what it's all about. There's something going on with you where your core values are changing on Saturday. And this is a major arcana card. I see this as a card that doesn't just all transpire within one day. This may be the kickoff of the process on Saturday, but this is going to be something that takes some time for you to work through and integrate into your life. But you have some core values changing. So in other words, you're looking at things that you've believed for a very long time, and you're starting to realize that maybe one or more of those beliefs doesn't really jive with your world as you live in it right now. And so you are looking at, okay, well, what does work there? And so replacing an old belief with a new one. Now, when we do this, this brings along some subtle but major changes. This can change how we interact with the people that we care about. It can change how we interact at work. It can change how we feel about our job. It can change how we feel about the world in general. So it can really have a big impact. And so this is a pretty big deal for this to be happening. And like I said, I don't think that it's going on just Saturday. I think it may just be kicking off Saturday. Now here's the cool part about this. Whenever we go through this process, when I see this card, I always know that somebody is in for a treat. It might be a long haul to get to the treat, but once you've actually incorporated this new change into your life, it is much, much easier to find your own happiness, and it is much, much easier to walk on your own life path or fulfill the purpose that you have chosen for yourself. So I really like to see this card actually come up. It's just talking about growth, expansion, change. It's really an amazing card. I'm glad to see you guys going through the process, even though it's awkward and it can feel really scary as you're going through it for a little while because we're afraid of the unknown. So worth going through this situation. Now, Sunday, what we have coming up is we have the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords is talking about being really stressed out and worried about some situation that we actually don't have that much control over. So if you start to feel yourself feeling that way, you want to take a step back, get an objective perspective, and think about, okay, what do I have control over in this situation? And when you figure out what you do have control over, do what you can with that part. If you have control over any of it, you may not. And then whatever you don't have control over, find a way to make peace with whatever happens in that situation. Because if you can find a way to make peace, then you don't have all of this stress riding around on you. You don't have this distraction from everyday tasks. You don't have difficulty sleeping anymore. You have peace with it, however it turns out. You know, if you have the attitude that the universe is always working in my favor, then you don't have to stress out about things you don't have control over. It's going to turn out in your favor one way or the other. It's all good. So if you can make peace with that situation, that's going to actually help you a lot. I hate to see this card because stress causes so many actual physical ailments as it manifests in our body. So the sooner you can lose that stress, the better. And that applies to anybody, no matter what sign they are. So Sagittarius, that is your week. Thank you so much for stopping by, for hanging out, liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting. I really appreciate all of your support. If you guys haven't noticed them already, I do have monthly forecasts out for the month of February. Check those out. Let me know what you think about that format. I have them set up completely different than the weeklies. Everyone have a fantastic week. I will see you back here the next time. Peace out.